right, he has, there are these 11 mottos, and I wanna read through those. The 11 mottos of Mas Oyama. The martial way begins and ends with courtesy. Therefore, be properly and genuinely courteous at all times. We have a similar one in Funakoshi's precepts, which is do not forget that karate do begins and ends with Rei. This is very similar. I like that he made it first as well. We always begin everything we do with respect and courtesy. Okay. We end it that way too. Without that, it's just brutality. 2, following the martial way is like scaling a cliff. Continue upwards without rest. It demands absolute and unfaltering devotion to the task at hand. You ever been mountain climbing? You ever done any of that climbing? You have to commit when you're training. You have to commit to when you're doing it. When you're in class or when you're practicing, practice it. Devote your attention to it. Don't go through the motions thinking about your phone. Number 3, strive to seize the initiative in all things, all the time guarding against actions stemming from selfish animosity or thoughtlessness. This is my interpretation. Understand the why and the who you're doing it for or doing it with, and protect yourself from feeling jealous because they might be better or superior because you might be better. I had a conversation with someone. I had this conversation a couple times about backhanded compliments. Have you ever received a backhanded compliment? You know, one that's like, "Hey, that was a good job for someone who's a beginner." Like, why can't you just say, "Hey, that was a great job"? Why do you have to add on that modifier, right? Because you're complimenting them, but you're also lifting yourself up with that modifier, and it is backhanded and it's passive aggressive. Don't do that. Number 4, even for the martial artist, the place of money cannot be ignored, yet one should be careful never to become attached to it. That's a very, Musashi way of looking at things. Um, in my opinion, I agree. He's not saying that you shouldn't make money, but what he's saying is you shouldn't become the slave of it, right? That's how we get McDojos. The martial way is centered in posture. Strive to maintain correct posture at all times. That can be physical and spiritual, emotional. Work on those things. Number 6, the martial way begins with 1,000 days and is mastered after 10,000 days of training. The 10,000 kick rule. Bruce Lee had a saying that I fear not a man who has practiced 10,000 kicks one time, but I'm truly scared of the man who's practiced one kick 10,000 times, or something along those lines. True mastery is had after whatever the number, lots of time. The old ways, Okinawan old ways, had a saying of like 1 year, 1 kata. So 1 year to train and practice one thing before you really begin to understand it. I don't disagree. Number 8, the nature and purpose of the martial way is universal. Budo. All selfish desires should be roasted in the tempering fires of hard training. When in doubt, train hard. Feeling depressed? Go train. Feeling overly successful? Go train. Training can be humbling and uplifting at the same time. Anyone who's done jujitsu for real knows what I'm talking about. 10, the true essence of the martial way can only be realized through experience. Knowing this, learn never to fear its demands. As we get through our training in life, we begin to look back on it and we learn those lessons. You can only learn those lessons by going through that fire. So, for example, a rank test. Don't fear it, embrace it, go through it, and the lessons on the other side are so much more rewarding than worrying about it. And oftentimes you'll look back and miss it. When I think about my own testing journey, I only really had 5 rank tests before I then tested for Shodan first degree black belt. And it's kind of sad, and I'm like 7 or 8 years removed from that, but it's kind of sad now to think back and think that, well, I'll never have another underbelt test again, you know? But the feelings of fear and trepidation I had before each one of them were almost overwhelming. It's just kind of a funny conundrum. The last one. Always remember in the martial arts, the rewards of a confident and grateful heart are truly abundant. I think that's self-explanatory. But if you are truly there and you are truly authentically you through your training, through your journey, then that can come true. Um, Karate extends beyond the dojo, and karate is a lifelong pursuit. Those are two of Funakoshi's guiding principles, and it seems like Oyama's sort of embracing those as well. And remember, he trained in Shotokan under the Funakoshi family.